Good morning, children. Today I am going to explain about the social science 6th lesson, Fundamental Rights. What is the name of the lesson? Fundamental Rights. Right. First you learn about what is right. A right means the authority. Right means what? Authority given to the citizen. It may be natural right, or fundamental right. Natural right also like right to live, right for protection to life. It may be legally acceptable right, also like right to equality, right to education, etc. For the development of individual and the country, some freedom and rights are inevitable. So in our constitution has given some fundamental rights to its citizens. Rights means hakku. Understood? Fundamental rights. Before independence, that means before 1947, India was ruled by British. They not give the fundamental rights for Indians. So after independence, January 26, 1950, we formed our constitution. So in that constitution, there are so many things, so many factors are explained about the citizens and government. Fundamental right is one of them. Already know Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is known as he was one of the architect of Indian Constitution. B.R. Ambedkar means Baba Saheb Ambedkar. He was the father of our Constitution. So in that Constitution, the fundamental rights, what are fundamental rights, how it is very important for every citizen of the country. So Indian citizens can and live their lives in peace as long as they live in Indian democracy. Individual right is common in every democratic country. Equality before law, freedom of speech, expression, freedom of association and peaceful assembly, freedom of religion, and right to constitutional remedies for the protection of civil right. These are all very important for everyone. These fundamental rights are constitute the backbone of the nation. Fundamental rights are backbone of the nation. So in this lesson, children, what are fundamental rights? And how many fundamental rights are given for the citizens? And we learn one by one in detail about fundamental rights and what are the features and characteristics of fundamental rights. These are all the things we learn in this lesson. Understood? So, what are fundamental rights? Fundamental rights of India are natural rights of every citizens that describe for every citizen. So there are 6 fundamental rights are given to the citizens. Which are the 6 fundamental rights? Right to equality, right to freedom, right against the exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational right, right to constitutional remedies. These are all the natural rights given by the by constitution, in our constitution. How many fundamental rights? 6. Which are they? Right to equality, right to freedom, right against the exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. These are all the important fundamental rights. Now children, we learn about one by one. First one is right to equality. All are equal before the law. Nobody is above the law, and all deserves equal protection are the aspects including in right to equality. That means all are equal before law. Ruling out any prejudice on the basis of race, religion, caste, creed, gender, or place of birth. This right also means equality of opportunity with respect to the employment, abolition of untouchability, and also abolition of titles. The government cannot discriminate on the basis of religion, caste, sect, gender, or place of birth. It cannot restrict entry to shop, hotel, or recreational places to any of citizens. It cannot be restrict anyone from using the public wells, tank, road, resting places. All citizens have the equal opportunity to enter the government service. It cannot forbid anyone from entering the holy places or offer prayers. Understood? That means equality for all the citizens. There is no discrimination, whatever it may be, religion, caste, sect, gender, or place of birth. All citizens have equal opportunity. Any servant given by the government, there is no restriction for citizens from entering the holy place or other prayer places or any other shops, hotel, recreational place. It cannot be restricted. All are equal before the law. Nobody above the law. All deserves equal protection are the aspects including in right to equality. Understood? Right to equality is one of the fundamental right. Next one, right to freedom. In our constitution, it gives the right to freedom for everyone. Right to speech and expression, right to assemble peacefully, or to form association, right to move freely throughout the territory of India, right to life and liberty, right to reside and settle in any part of India, and so on. That means right to speech and freedom of expression. Right to freedom of expression. Right to participate in the peaceful public meetings. Right to establish institutions and associations. Right to travel throughout the country without any restriction. Right to live in any part of India. Right to take up any employment, business, or occupation. Freedom cannot be discharged as one likes through it is a fundamental right. The Constitution itself states that the government can impose the restrictions on the individual freedom on certain occasion only. For example, it restricts everyone from defaming someone of uncontrolled words on the pretext of discharging one's freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is given, the right of freedom of speech given everyone to express their feelings and participated in public meetings and establish the institutions and associations, and also it gives the travel throughout the country without any restrictions, right to live in any part of India, right to take up any employment, business or occupation. It is the right, understood? The government given to everyone citizen for freedom, right of freedom, understood? Next one is right against the right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion is another important fundamental right that explains the essence of freedom of conscience and profession. Freedom to run religion affairs and freedom to give religious instructions in certain institutions. It is also freedom of right. Religion is one of the fundamental right. The citizen of India have a right to accept and follow the religion of their own choice. Everyone has right to observe their religious practice without disturbing peace, discipline, hygiene in mind. The Constitution also prohibits religious conversion by force, temptation or falsehoods. Understood? So this is the right of freedom of religion. Next one is right against the exploitation. Right against exploitation talk about the banning of forced labor and prohibition of employment of children in precarious jobs. The objective of this right is to prevent the exploitation of poor women, children, and the weaker sections of the society. It prevents the exploitation of poor, women, children, and weaker section of the society. In order to restrict the exploitation in the name of religion, caste, gender, and sect, the state and the central government have enforced the many laws. For example, taking dowry is the punishable offense. Even the practice of bonded labor is prohibited. Employing children in certain industries such as bead making, mining, cracker manufacturing have been banned. The children are expected to get the education till age of 14 years. So this is the right to exploitation, fight against the exploitation. Understood? Next one is cultural and educational rights. This explains the preservation of language and culture minorities and right of minorities of established educational institutions. So this is one of the fundamental right, protect the cultural and educational interest of the minorities. People have right to protect their own language, script and culture. The minorities means the other caste, the Muslims or Christians or Jains, or they are called as minorities peoples. They have right to establish the educational institutions and manage them. Educational institutions of the minorities should adhere the rules stipulated by the government. Understood? So this is one of the fundamental right. Next, last one, right to constitutional remedies. A citizen has the right to approach the court of justice in event of violation of the fundamental rights. Right lay down the privileges the respect of national commissions or minorities. The National Commission of Women, the National Commission of Scheduled Caste, etc. This is known as right to constitutional remedy. That means a citizen has right to approach the court of justice in event of violation of the fundamental right. Other right can be protected by way of protection this right. Fundamental rights and they are directly given to the citizens by the constitution. Any individual or organization or institution such as parliament, assembly, judicial means, group, official group, police department, any other public institution are restricted from violating them. In the event of violation, the aggrieved person can directly approach the High Court or Supreme Court and seek the redressal. In the event of violation, our fundamental rights are very important for everyone. Now next we learn about what are the features and characteristics of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are not absolute. They are subject to the reasonable restrictions. The strikes of balance between individual liberty and social security. But the reasonable restrictions are subject to the judicial review. All fundamental rights can be suspended except the fundamental rights guarantee under the Article 20 and 21. Right to freedom is automatically suspended during the emergency. Some of the fundamental rights are the Indian citizens only, but some of them fundamental rights can be enjoyed both citizens and aliens. All fundamental rights can be abandoned but they cannot be abrogated. Abrogation of fundamental right will violate the basic structure of the Constitution. Fundamental rights are both positive and negative. Negative rights prevent the state from doing certain things. Article 15 prevents the state from making the discrimination. Some fundamental rights are available against the states. Some rights are available against the individuals. Fundamental rights are justifiable. A citizen may be approached the court of law when its fundamental rights are violated. Some fundamental rights may not be available to personnel serving in defense force. They cannot enjoy all the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are social and political in character. No economic rights have been guaranteed to the citizens of India, although without them other rights are little or no significance. Thus, these are all the characteristics or features of our fundamental rights. What you learned today? You recall once again. Right to equality means equality before law. The fundamental rights are both positive and negative. Understood? All fundamental rights are positive or negative. The fundamental rights are justifiable. Fundamental rights are not absolute. Some rights are available against the individuals. So these are all the things we learn in this lesson. So children, you read the lesson 1 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times. Then you easily understand about the lesson and answer the questions. So you must read all the things what is in your lesson. So I think all of you nearly understand about this lesson. So I will stop this lesson today. In next class I will continue. Till now, thank you. Goodbye.